didn't do anything too. And you don't know who they are. They're just the kind of people that we don't want them in Ethiopia. I said, no, because I knew that what goes around eventually comes around. Because what they were doing in 2005 against specific Amhara ethnic group, I knew it would come back to Oromia, and it did. It did now. So to go back to your question about what is going on in Gondar, the TPLF killing Amharas are not the first time. Because the first thing they target when they came into power is Amhara people. I don't know. I have no idea. When this government, TPLF, came into power, I was 5-year-old. I don't really know too much about it. But I read the story how they came into power. So they target Amhara people as a #1 enemy.
Okay.
And then Oromo, and then Gambela. I don't have to ask you what's going on.
So, so you're saying that the repression is on the basis of ethnicity. If you belong to a different ethnic groups, you're automatically an enemy, and you should be victimized.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think what happened in Gondar today is that a region called Walqait, in the part of Gondar, was incorporated by Ethiopian government some times ago, 2025 probably.
Exactly, yeah.
So the people were demanding to get back that land, but on the process there was few killings. I don't know if it's stopped right now.
Look,
yeah,
there is terrible thing going on in the country. There is no way we know what is going on exactly, because there's no internet, there's no Facebook, there's no Twitter, and no social media in the country.
Okay.
So it's hard to know. They probably are killing a lot of people. And the killing of this government, of the innocent people, is not something new. The Amhara ethnic group, that Walqait issue that you raised, they asked that they wanted to be called Amhara. They wanted to be their ethnic group. They're proud to be Amhara and Ethiopian. But the TPLF divide and rule system is hijacking them and muffling them down to call themselves a Tigray. They don't want to be called Tigray. I don't want to be called Tigray, but I respect Tigrays as they are. Tigrays should be proud to call themselves a Tigray. And Amharas should also be proud to call themselves Amharas.
So,
and Oromos should be proud to call themselves Oromo, which we are dying for it.
Yes. So what do you think is a solution for the crisis in that region, in Ethiopia?
You know, the interesting...
You have an idea or suggestion that you wanted to share?
The interesting thing that comes to my mind is the quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. What he said is, I think he said, let me try to remember, we are all tied up in an inescapable web of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. That is a word from Martin Luther King Jr., from Dr. Martin Luther King. So, there is no anyone living in Ethiopia are happy with the TPLF leadership. I was in Ethiopia. Many times I went back and forth to Ethiopia. I traveled to Tigray region. Many people in the Tigray region don't want the TPLF. Do they want to go denounce and say no to the killing? No. Here is why. They choose to serve the devil they know than the angels that they don't know. Remember, for the last 25 years, Mala Zenawi and his puppets has been preaching that Tigray ethnic group and the people won't be able to exist in the country if they lose the power. and they show the Rwandan genocide video to their people, telling them that, look, if we lose the power, this is what is going to happen to us. Which is bad, which is very bad. Anybody can come to the power and lead the country into the right direction. We need change. The change is what people can only bring.
Okay.
When they preach into their people, the Tigray people, that if anyone comes into power, they have no other chance except getting killed. And every Tigray ethnic group is poisoned with that ideology. And they're just dying to just remain silent. It doesn't mean they like the government. They just didn't want to say anything about it. And they have the right to do so, though.
Oh, yeah. But what do you think should be the solution? What do you think? I know what you're saying is, yeah, they're preparing their people to stay more than they should in power. But as an Oromo or as an Ethiopian, what do you think should be the shortcut if you have to remove them to the people's power?
Before I express my opinion, I think it's good to explain that the Oromo Liberation Front has changed its manifesto from Oromo Liberation into Ethiopian Liberation. They did this because they saw that every Ethiopians are a victim of this leadership, and no one has been benefited but only those on top. Even the Tigray people are not benefited. I know a lot of friends of mine, Tigray region, who has the same story with me, the same impoverished, the same economic inequality in there. They get nothing, but just simply these people, TPLF, are claiming they represent Tigray. They're not even doing it. So the OLF has changed its manifesto to stand for equality of every nation and nationality in Ethiopia. I know the mentality of Ethiopian is whoever owns the gun and power and military will own the country. Whoever owns the country and the power will do whatever they can to their tribe. This has been not only an addiction, but a love to the Ethiopian people. When you are addicted to something, you can recover from the addiction easily. But when you love something, you cannot get out of it. So the Ethiopian people think, because there has never been a revolution in Ethiopia without support of the military power. So everyone in Ethiopia is hoping that somewhere, somehow, at least armed group will come and join them. I know there is OLF army. I know there is Arbanyot Gimbot Sabat army. But what I would like to say is the country and the people that cannot liberate themselves by their own. The country and the people that needs outside power to liberate themselves, they also need the outside power to govern that country and that people. The change of the government, the change of the leadership must come from the country. So I believe Oromo people and Amhara people are enough to overthrow this trash out of the window and free Ethiopia.
Locally. So are you saying that Gimbot 7 and Arbanyot, if I understood you correctly, are they supported by a foreign force? Is it Eritrea or some other force? I mean, recently they're residing in Eritrea. That's why I was asking you.
I'm not involved with them. But Eritrea has been a good neighbor to Ethiopia, but they oppose Ethiopian government. But they are good to opposition leaders by helping them, the military occupation and stuff. But that I wish even I wouldn't go into it.
Oh, it's okay.
But Eritrea has their own problem too. But without helping your country and yourself, trying to help somebody else's country is nothing but foolishness. That's all I can say.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And Dr. Brano, actually, someone I respect. I heard him saying that in front of the Geneva and supporting Isaias Afwerki. It's good for him to do it. But my only concern is if we believe that Ethiopian regimes are dictators oppressing Ethiopian people, there should not be any reason that we should support Isaias, that he's being democratic government. He has never been, never will be.
Yeah.
It's the best idea to just leave about the Eritrea politics to the Eritrean people. That's simple I can say.
Okay, okay. I mean, you make sense, yeah. Because just like you said, Brahanu Naga, not Brahanu Naga, his deputy, I guess, Naaman, he came into one meeting and he said, let's support Eritrea. He's not actually supporting Eritrea, he's supporting the dictator to give him an extension in life. Because 12,000 Eritreans were complaining about the dictatorial rule in Eritrea. And he is in Eritrea because it's a safe haven for him. But for him to go beyond and above and praising the dictator, just like determining a death sentence to the Eritreans, you know, helping out the dictator a little bit. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
You know, you reminded me about a French word.
Okay.
Quid pro quo.
Okay. Quid pro, yeah.
That means, you know, scratch my back.
I'll scratch yours.
Scratch yours.
That's what justice is resorted to.
You know,
as long as it benefits Ethiopians, the Eritrean, I mean, it hurts the Ethiopian government, the Eritrean government will support the opposition, vice versa. Ethiopia will do the same thing on the Eritrean case. So you think that will be a solution?
Look, let me...
I know. You make your point very clear, but if you need to add to it a little more.
That reminds me about politicians. Politicians are not and has never been the solution to the country. They are part of the destruction, not part of the solution. Look what's going on in the United States when we come back to our home, the politics out here, which this 2016 is going to be one of the decisive years in America. It's going to determine whether America is going to remain for its promise, for its truth, for its democracy, because 2016 is going to be a very challenging years that America ever has in 200 years. There is a woman campaigning to be the president, which is something that has never been done
historically
in 200 years. And American people, I know we're going to go through a lot of rough situation, and America has been in a lot of ups and downs.